Amazon Games are a bad publisher. I mean, with a track record like theirs, it's indisputable to say that. In 2014, they announced they would start making non-mobile games. 5 whole years later, their Seattle branch released a game so bad they actually pulled it from stores and changed the name of the studio to hide the shame. But the punches keep on rolling. Nova, Intensity, the Lord of the Rings MMO, all put to bed before they even had a chance. Miraculously, Breakaway made it all the way to its beta, before they lined it up against the wall and, shot it. And then Crucible, the cynical attempt to ape Overwatch's success, but 4 years too late. It actually got released, but that did not stop Amazon's squad of game assassins from burying it alive, kicking and screaming. Where they finally found some success is our genre, the MMO. Or, looking at Lost Ark and New World, they found initial success. But can a publisher that's only ever known failure actually handle a win? Well, if Bloomberg's reporting is anything to be believed, the man allegedly to blame for a lot of this 10 years of embarrassment and failure has maybe finally realized he should stop wasting billions of dollars, and perhaps now there is some hope that Lost Ark and New World won't be joining the ever-growing Amazon graveyard. Not that that really stopped Amazon from trying to put them there. Oh, by the way, they're also working on another MMO at the same time. Maybe even 2. This is your game on Amazon. Let's have a think about this statistic. 400,000 players on Steam. How many of them are human? Not even Amazon know, or they'd actually be able to ban them all. Instead, they seem to take an approach towards banning that can only be described as attaching a shotgun to a roulette wheel. Seriously, Amazon's mishandling of this game has it's been an embarrassment to what Lost Ark actually is, and the way that it's grown in Korea. Now that people are getting into T3's brilliant raids and still working through all of that lovely horizontal progression, enjoyment of the game itself is actually really high. That's great news, and of course that's all Smilegate's hard work paying off. But on Amazon's side, well, there are speed hacking, wall hacking bots that now spam low-level zones and daily quests for rare materials and gold. This has actually led to rampant inflation, driving prices up so only big whales can afford items. Also, naturally, this impacts new players because they join the game and the thing they see is bots claiming every quest objective and kill. On the topic of bans, well, this is fun. Anyone caught refunding their Founders Edition skin will be commerce locked and potentially will get a code of conduct ban. Except this actually applies to the account currently holding the skin. And that means that if you buy a Founders skin in-game from another player, and that player refunds, you could get banned. Customer support just tell you that, and they close the ticket, rather than dealing with the problem. So that's cool. Then there's small things. For servers, daylight savings time caught them off guard. The in-game timers were completely off because they didn't account for it, and they then had to, take the servers down for 4 hours. This is obviously not a huge deal, but I think to a player base who has seen a lot of Amazon publishing-related issues with the game, this has been, another one of the long list of simple, frustrating mistakes. But to be fair, they actually do seem to be really bloody trying. Earlier this month, they actually released some blog posts going into these various problems and offering solutions. They've banned something like 1 million bots so far, and obviously have much more to do, and they're even targeting the ways that the bots are making gold. Even more importantly for the game itself, they admitted their March release was far too early, and then they explained why. Why they thought it was a good idea, and why they were very mistaken. They were basically modeling player behavior data that they got from Smilegate. So they basically expected more players to be ready for Argos. But they didn't realize that Western players would play differently. We spend a lot more time on average doing horizontal content, apparently, and of course, botting unexpectedly wrecked the economy, which is important for a game like this. Now, obviously, the genie is out of the bottle on Argos, but they say players should continue progressing at their own pace, and they will hold off on Legion raids until more players are ready. They've also just added honing materials to more events, they've added PvP rewards, and have given players a whole bunch of cosmetic and material gifts as an apology. Oh, and they're also promising faster class releases, which has also been a serious point of contention when you compare the different versions of the game. Then, we get to Amazon making a very same mistake that Smilegate made. A mistake that almost killed the Korean version of the game. And honestly, this is something that is just baffling to me, and it's the main reason why, to be honest with you, I enjoyed Lost Ark. I really loved the spectacle, and the combat felt really fun. But this was the reason why I couldn't commit my time to it. It was grind-related stuff. I just don't have the time. It doesn't fit for me. Well, one of the issues Smilegate had at launch was basically making the item level grind infuriatingly, hopelessly slow at specific points. Amazon's version is even worse than the original release, because while the chance of success is equally awful, there's actually less content to farm the materials from, so you get less tries. And that basically makes the whole process longer, and then content is released faster, so players feel more rushed, like they need that item level because it's gating content. They intentionally shuffled content around item level-wise to make gearing at 1370 feel better, but that ended up leaving a complete dead zone between 1340 and 1370. Now, in a game that is all about making consistent progress, they had decided to rebalance the progress and managed to make it feel worse. And that's not really ideal, especially since problems like this are actually things that Smilegate have done a real good job of fixing in the sort of main version of the game. Still, though, in fairness to them, they've had some great communication and strong targeted updates. We love to see that. But they are fighting what seems to be a little bit of a losing battle. I think some trust in Amazon's ability to accomplish their goals is at a bit of a low point. I think there's also, given the economic issues, some concerns that things are just, great for the swipers to progress fast. But Smilegate have literally been flown in to help here. So for Lost Ark, I think it's definitely going to get somewhere. I think the problems are going to be resolved. But it is not their only MMO. And also, with the other MMO, it's not like they can fly in the very successful developers to fix it up. So let's take a look at their other baby. This too is your game on Amazon. Amazon's Hail Mary of a project, after 8 long years of expensive development, is currently sitting at, okay, bit of an ouch. I mean, compared to the monumental peak, hovering at around 30k is painful, but doing the whole, current concurrence versus peak concurrence honestly doesn't mean a hell of a lot, especially when one of those numbers is inflated by a queue. But for some context here, 30k concurrence actually leaves New World firmly in the top 50 most played games on Steam. And using reviews as an estimate, they're anywhere between, you could maybe say, 4 and 12 million people. I know that's a silly large range, but it just gives you a number range for scale. That's sort of the amount of people who could jump back into this game once it's fixed up. Just like with a No Man's Sky situation. Because that's totally going to happen here. So let's get right to the point. Can Amazon fix New World? Because this time, they are both the publisher and the developer. Will they fix it? Well, I think the short answers are maybe and probably not. If we go back to October 2021, an Amazon employee posted exactly why New World is fundamentally broken and how the devs basically knew it, but were rather helpless to stop it because Mike Frazzini cut their brakes. The TLDR here is the studio faced a really hard decision. Either deal with Amazon's Lumberyard engine having abysmal netcode that would open the game up to cheats, hacks, and a plethora of bugs, or spend a year, potentially longer, rebuilding the game to solve those problems before they arise. Well, the boss man, who is entirely new to game development, said, "We can fix it later, it's fine." And to the success of Josh Strives Hayes' YouTube channel, Mike Frazzini was very wrong. So cue 6 months of game-breaking bugs, fixes that added many other game-breaking bugs, gold sinks that make real-life taxes feel fair, and a lack of theme park content for the theme park side of the MMO, and a lack of fixes for the economy and the PvP stuff for the player-driven side, and it's a bit rough. Oh, combat's just a bit broken, by the way, and allegedly that's a result of them trying to fix a client-side cheating problem. And, like with Lost Ark, it is, of course, full of bots, and their attempts at banning sometimes miss. I think this is a bit worse than a shotgun on a roulette wheel. One Persol got banned from New World for no reason, and when they appealed their ban, they were told that they shouldn't have cheated, and now their Lost Ark account will be banned. Permanently. That's not the game they were playing. Amazon's customer support is so busted that their bot responses are actually about the entirely wrong game. But it's not all doom and gloom. Steam reviews show that around 45% of recent reviews were positive. So I guess at least some people are enjoying it. And recently, they even posted a roadmap. This year is going to bring one new territory. A territory that was already on the beta and just wasn't at launch. Then 3 new expeditions, 2 new weapons, PvP, and a few events. It's actually kind of a pittance. But in their defense, they did say they would release less content, with the trade-off being that this time it would actually work. When you go into the details of the roadmap, it's pretty sketch, to be honest. So cue there being some rumors of New World being abandoned and the team moving on. True or not, those rumors are spreading amongst the player base, and even that does damage, because investing time in an MMO requires people to believe that that MMO is a stable platform where their time's not gonna just, go poof in a bunch of dust and disappear. Anyway, the story's just tragic. Like the Lost Ark team, the devs really do seem to be trying with New World. But you could say they're fighting a bit of a losing battle. Patch notes are long, crammed full of speculative bug fixes and radical changes, yet the prevailing opinion is that, unlike Lost Ark, it's a bit fruitless because the game itself is, well, rotten to the core. That's a lot of the worry out there. A lot of people are holding on to hope, and lots do actually still enjoy what's there. I would assume for similar reasons to how I enjoyed quite a bit my initial forays into New World. Because there is that spark, that original promise of an economy in a PvP-driven MMO. That exists, it's just not getting the love it deserves. Let's cut to the chase. We covered the technical reason why fixes are tricky. At least they're not quick or cheap. Some of the current problems. There's also a reason why they won't fix it. Obviously, there's Amazon's entire history of cut and run with failed projects. But let's add a little bit of fuel to that fire, and that is their unannounced games. Job listings, if not handled carefully, can leak a bunch of product plans. Now, details are scarce here, but we do have lots of dots to connect, so bear with us here. Amazon are currently working on at least 3 games. One is a mobile game, one is a new action MMO, and the other one is a multi-platform game. Now, the latter they're working on with veterans from EverQuest, PlanetSide, H1Z1, and Free Realms. That basically sounds like Daybreak, the EverQuest and DCUO guys. Now, this team is at their San Diego studio, and it's being set up by John Smedley. If you're an MMO vet, you may have just groaned. Smedley was credited with building the team that built EverQuest. He's also was the ex-president of Sony Online Entertainment and Daybreak. And he was actually so influential that in 2014, the hacker group Lizard Squad got his plane diverted and taken down with a bomb threat, which was, well, a bit crazy. He's also the man credited with shooting Star Wars Galaxies in the back of the head with the NGE updates, and generally pushing that game out just too early. And I've seen some ramblings that maybe he took a little bit too much credit for EverQuest in the first place. Who knows? Anyway, this team are working on an Unreal Engine game that, according to their job listing, quote, everyone will be downloading to their PCs, phones, tablets, and consoles. Who knows? I mean, given Smedley's history and the team that he's brought with him, I think this is almost definitely going to be an MMO of some sort. And I wouldn't get mega excited, really. Then, they also have a new action MMO. Now this one is in the works by a new MMO team in Irvine. Irvine, that's where Blizzard is. It's got veterans from New World, WoW, and Destiny. Now, Amazon Games' only Irvine studio is Amazon Games Orange County. They were the people who made New World. Now, the sparse roadmap, to many people, makes a lot more sense if this studio is also making another game. Perhaps this project is a big thing and is the studio's main focus. Now, New World actually wasn't just Orange County. Relentless was also working on it. That's the Seattle studio that were tasked with supporting New World after their game Crucible was released and then unreleased. And now, job listings show that they either have been relegated to mobile game development or that mobile game development has been started with them. By this stage, you might be wondering how all of these teams of experienced, really strong game developers are producing these results. Well, there's a final piece to this puzzle, and perhaps this is the piece of the puzzle that inspires the most hope for us. And that is that the person blamed for ignoring the advice from his veteran developers, despite him never making a game before, forcing them to use Lumberyard despite many warnings, and ultimately being responsible for this decade of failures, has now stepped down. Yeah. If Mike Frazzini was as bad as some of the reporting says, then perhaps Amazon Games can actually begin to heal. But they have a lot to fix, from their extremely broken support, some of the technical incompetence that perhaps is in spite of the technical talent of their teams, the lost goodwill from New World and elements of Lost Ark, the lack of effective updates to New World, and their now decade-long habit of killing projects and moving on without really giving customers much to work with. It's a very long road ahead, but they do have the money to walk that road. And hey, at least their next games are in Unreal Engine, not Lumberyard. So ultimately, this is a very sad story of wasted talent. So many game developers, super strong, passionate people, have hopped in the Amazon train. And from what I understand, the pay was good and all of that, but plenty of them have just wandered off because it's not a creatively satisfying thing when the projects are being killed and there's lots of mismanagement. For Amazon, there's millions wasted, likely millions of unsatisfied customers too. Hopefully, at least Lost Ark makes it out of this alive. And given that Smilegate RPG are actually a super strong bunch who seem to be great at making changes and great at listening to their players, well, because of that, I'm actually feeling pretty good about Lost Ark. Let's just hope that New World gets as good a treatment, because if New World flounders while Lost Ark flourishes, and you see a situation where Amazon publishes both, but one of them they develop, the other one they don't, well then, people might start to think, okay, let me know how your experience has been in these Amazon games in the post-launch period. Thank you for watching today, and you know what? Here's to hoping these games are able to turn it around, and at least for Lost Ark, not that it needs turned around, that it can truly match up to just how much potential we know it has from its full Korean version. Have a great day, and goodbye.